Hey, what's up? My name is Petrowski. I come from a PokeMMO and an old school RuneScape background, and I wanted to kind of do something today that I don't see done very much in the PokeMMO community, but it was a staple of growing the RuneScape video community, and that would be loot videos. So what I plan to do is sit here in the Safari Zone, showing my method at the beginning, and just catch a really large number of Magikarps. I'm not sure what that number will be. It could be 100, could be 1,000, could be, if I go crazy, something larger. But I just wanted to try this out and have fun with it and see what I can show the community. And like, it's usually a very fun, interactive, and like informative video all at the same time, because you get to see like what the loot, like what you're expecting to get if you do this grind, or just see the agony flow through my eyes as I grind Magikarps for hours on end. Okay, I'll see you guys back with that loot. Have a good day. See you later.
Hello again. So I think I'm set on catching 1,000 Magikarps at this point, but I'll be breaking it up in sections due to box space. So I wanted to show you guys, here's the first 240 Magikarps that have been caught. Set up these 4 boxes for them. I catch about 26 to 27 Magikarps per Safari Zone, which means I'll end up spending around 20,000 Poke-Yen for all of the Safari trips over the 1,000 Magikarps. And each Safari trip takes roughly 30 to 35 minutes. So from this point on, I'm going to be sorting through them all, releasing all the carps that are worthless and useless. Then I'll be trying to put the ones that are worth something and sellable in this box that I set up. And I'll be looking for any sort of Magikarp that has at least 131 IV. Those go for about 4 to 5k if they're female, depending on the IV, which is 31. 6 to 10k if male, depending on the IVs. And anything else like 20 plus across and like 4 different stats. Anything notable, anything worth, putting off into this box for selling. So I'm going to be sorting these boxes for a while, and I'll see you guys when I'm done. See you guys after a couple hours of box sorting. Okay, here we are after an hour and a half of box sorting, which wasn't that bad surprisingly. We have our 4 carp boxes empty, and our carp box full of valuable carps. So I wanted to sort them in a visually pleasing way that also tried to like show the value and break them down and help people understand it a better way. So from here to here are 1 times 31 Magikarps with not much else going on. And then from this line to here are 1 times 31 Magikarps with a little more going on. They've got some 25 plus stats across the board, a little more value to them. They're worth around 8 to 25k per, and these are probably around 4 to 10k per. And then down to this bottom part, these are just like decent Magikarps with no 31s, but kind of 20s and 25s in certain areas. And these will probably go anywhere from 4 to 12k. And then finally, we have the top 6 Magikarps caught so far out of the first 240. These are the exciting ones. These are the big boys. So we caught 2 times 31 Magikarps. We'll look at those like this. Very beautiful. Also has a 1 times 0, which I actually didn't notice until just now. That's interesting. These go for around 40k each, which is super solid, 40 to 45k. And then we have 2 times 0 Magikarp, which isn't super expensive. It's probably only goes for around 5k, but it's very interesting to see nonetheless. It's just as rare as a 2 times 31. And then this one's interesting. A 1 times 31 and then 2 times 30. This goes for around 50k from what I was seeing on the GTL, which is cool to have. And then a 1 times 31 and 2 times 0. This is like also a really interesting one. It could be like 3 times 0, could be 3 times 31. That I saw one with similar stats, but with 31 HP instead of attack, going for 30k on the GTL. And then finally, this is just a decent carp, decent all around with 131. This will probably go for like 15k, maybe 12, around there. But that's a pretty good first haul. Pretty excited by it. Honestly, I've performed way better than I thought it could. And I counted up, ran some numbers. I think so far out of everything, I made around 400 to 450k if everything sells. And that's pretty great considering that's the first 240 out of 2,000 or 1,000 carps. And out of 1,000 carps, it'll only cost me 20k to go for all the safari trips. So I'm going to go start selling these and then go catch 240 more Magikarps. See you later, gamers. And I'm back with 4 more fresh boxes of Magikarps ready for sorting. This batch had a really strong start with a lot of 1x31s and 2 or 3 2x31s. I feel like pretty early in the run, but it seemed to even out over the entire catching process. I do think our 2x31 luck was just overall better in this batch. I feel like there was 3 or 4 total, but we're gonna have to get to sorting and see what the outcome really was. So I'll be back in a sec. Hey, hello again. I'm back after actually a couple of days now. I ended up taking a little bit of a break and started catching more Magikarps. It took me a while to sort. I just got distracted by other things, but I'm back now. And I started doing something that's pretty important to this grind. I started naming my Magikarps during the catching process, which makes sorting boxes a ton faster. So that'll be like a huge benefit going forward for the rest of the process, for the rest of the 500 or so Magikarps. But here I can just sort by these. And here we have all the Magikarps sorted for the second batch. So these are all the 1x31 Magikarps that I've sorted out, which was a high number and really good for this batch. This was a really good batch for like consistent Pokemon. There wasn't many like crazy outliers, but this was really good for consistent Pokemon. These will all sell for about 4 to 10k depending on the IV the 31 is in and depending on the gender. But these sell very quickly and very consistently. I sold most of the Magikarps from the first batch already, actually, and I sold those. I think I've pulled in around 340k or so worth of Pokeyen just from mostly these. But the other ones that are more niche, like these 6 types, these like notable ones that don't have really 31s, these take a bit longer to sell usually. But now the interesting thing about this batch is if we look at our best Magikarps, we got quite lucky on 2x31 Carps. I'm really proud of that, really happy with this. This 2x31 Carps, great. 2x31 HP defense, and then 24 plus across 3 other stats. This is probably the best Carp we've caught so far. It's a bit of a shame that it's female. A male would come bring in more Pokemon, but it's still the best Carp we've caught so far. Really lucky and really happy to have it. This is a 2x31 cart, pretty simple, worth easy 40k. Another 2x31, easy 40k, nice male breeder. Another 2x31, easy male breeder. 20 plus and 2 other stats, but not super relevant. But easy 40k. So these will sell on their own for like 160k. And then this one is just a 1x31 with a little more going on. 1x31 and then 20 plus across 4 other stats. It's pretty nice. So this is the second batch. Went pretty well. We have 520 Magikarps left to catch about, and then I'll see you guys after around the third batch. Okay, we started catching the third batch already, but it just took me a while to get this voiceover up to edit over it. But I'll see you guys after the third batch. See you later. Okay, the third batch has been fully caught. This was definitely our least impressive batch yet, but that's only fair coming off that super nice, super lucky second batch. Now it's just time to sort through them all, and I'll be back to show you guys a price tally up and give you an average of things. Okay, we are back, and as expected, this batch was a bit on the weaker side, but RNG always evens out over time, so it only makes sense. No complaints here after the last second batch was really nice. I can highlight the 1x31s and show you guys how many we got. Got 28. Those go for about 4 to 10k as per usual. Nothing different there. So these will still end up selling for around 180k altogether, which is still really nice, even on a weaker batch. And we have a couple notable Magikarps here. These no 31s, but 2x30, some notable stuff here. These will go anywhere between like 10 to 30k ish. Maybe like 5 to 30k, a little more flexible. And then these 2x30s, these two will probably go for 10k each. And then this 2x0 isn't super notable, probably won't sell, but it was very low IV. I thought it was funny. And then we do have one pride and joy and one light to this batch, which was this beautiful Magikarp, which was 2x31, 1x30, and then 1x25, and 1x0, but that won't matter too much probably. But I looked around after scouring the GTL. Probably sell this for around 130k, so that's a super solid Magikarp, which ends up leaving this full batch at around 350k Pokeyen estimated. We'll see, but it's usually correct. It's usually around the right price. Prices are pretty stable in this game, but that's pretty good considering this was a weaker batch. 350k after like 5k input. in a couple hours of time. It's a really good outcome. But now to sell everything, and finally we get to finally catch the last batch of Magikarps. Really excited for that, and I'll see you guys soon. See you later. Whew. Okay. We have officially caught 1,000 Magikarp. This is the last batch of 280. We caught 3 batches of 240. 60. There's 60 Magikarps per box, and I set 4 boxes for them. This batch was a bit larger to even it out to 1,000, and it actually ends up extending to a different box, which is funny. But yeah, all there's left to do now is to sort all these Magikarps, and I'll come back and show you guys the final loot. It'll tally everything up and show the grand total of profit from everything. So, see you guys soon. Alright, we finally get to take a look at the last batch of Magikarps. So, from this top left corner to this bottom right, those are all normal 1x31s. Those go for 4 to 10k per piece, as per usual. This bottom left group is 1x31 and then 1x30. Those will go for 15 to 25k a piece, depending on where the IVs are placed. And we can look at noted. These have no 31s, but are multiple 30s or 20 plus across and 5 or more stats. Those will go for 10 to 20k a piece. Pretty solid. These will take a little bit longer to sell as well. They're a little more complicated. And then we have more, which have 1x31 at least usually. This has 2x30 though. And then a little more going on throughout the stats. Usually 4 to 5 20 plus across stats. Those will go for anywhere around 15 to 30k. And now we finally get to look at the best carps of the entire batch. And we get to start off with this beautiful 2x31 with 20 plus across and other stats. This is basically a UT comp Gyarados. This is it's suboptimal only due to the nature, and the nature isn't even a negative, not even a bad nature. It's not even like hurtful. It's more like it's kind of like a neutral nature. It's not super helpful, but not super hurtful. It's minus special attack, which is nice. Suboptimal for sure, but having 31 attack, 31 speed, this is a totally usable, totally cheaper Gyarados comp for someone who wants to learn how to use a Gyarados and get into competitive battle and doesn't have enough Poke-Yen. This will easily sell for like 150k Poke-Yen. Maybe could squeeze 200k out of it. Super beautiful catch. Possibly the best catch of the grind, but we'll have to see. This next carp is 1x31 and then 2x30, which is super beautiful. 20 plus across and 2 other stats as well. This will probably go for around 35k, maybe 40. Could squeeze out of it. It's almost a 3x31, but obviously not quite. It's missing the 1 stat, so people will often sell these for half the price or like much cheaper than the actual price of a 3x31. So it should go for around 35 to 50k. This third carp is an interesting one. It's quite funny and it brings me back. It's also kind of a UT, an untrained comp Gyarados ready to be made, but it's a special attacker, which is funny because back in the day it was theorized and it was like a niche meme kind of build, because back in the day Gyarados didn't have a stab water move. He didn't have waterfall. He didn't have, I don't know if he can like Aqua Tail now, but he didn't have those like stab physical water moves, so people would run like special attacker Gyaradoses with Surf, so you could get away with that. And nowadays you could run like Rain Dance, Hydro Pump, Hurricane, Thunder Gyarados, which is really funny, and it's 31 speed. It'll catch people off guard, but I think the special attack base stat's like 60 on Gyarados, so it's definitely suboptimal, but it's a surprising, funny meme build. I honestly might turn this into that myself. I think it's humorous. I appreciate it. And we'll see how that goes. But if I were to sell it, it would sell for around 50k still, which is super solid. And this fourth carp isn't too special, but it's 1x31, 1x30, and then 20 plus across, and multiple other stats. This should fetch a solid 30k. Nothing crazy, but neat nonetheless, and a solid carp nonetheless. And then we have this beauty. This fella, this little guy, I properly named Huh, because he is by far the worst total IV carp I caught throughout the entire grind, throughout the entire process. 10 below in every IV stat. Pretty cute, pretty funny. Love to see it. I love trying to breed low IV Pokemon. Working on a 6x0 Shuckle as we speak. So hopefully we'll get that one day. But this was not a sellable carp. It's just funny. Truly, he is not the sharpest in the shed. Truly the worst of the worst. And that deserves a trophy, you know? But anyways, I'm going to go sell these, and I'll get back to you. and we'll come back with a price check. See you guys later. Okay, let's talk numbers, and where is a better place to do that than MS Paint? So let's go over each batch individually and add them up and get the math on that. So the first batch was worth 400k Pokeyen. The second, 560k Pokeyen. The third, 350k Pokeyen. And then the fourth was definitely the fattest by far, coming in at 800,000 Pokeyen. That leads us at a total of 2.1 million Pokeyen made from the carps. But one thing that I definitely failed to mention and failed to realize myself going into the video was listing fee prices on the GTO. That was for sure the biggest factor that I just didn't consider. But even with that, we still made a super solid amount of Pokeyen. So it cost 20k Pokeyen in total for all of the safari trips, and then 250k Pokeyen, and that's on an estimate for all the GTL. It's probably a healthier over than what I actually spent estimate on what it cost to list all of the carps on the GTL. So that leaves us at 270k total for costs and expenses. So 2.1 million minus 270,000 leaves us at around 1.8 million Pokeyen profit, which is super nice, super healthy, super important. Now we have to talk about time. So time investment, it took around only 20 hours in game time to catch all the carps, which was not as bad as I thought. Around 5 hours to sort all the boxes, although I definitely spent an hour or two more than I should have without understanding like methods beforehand and without naming carps, so that could definitely be improved upon heavily. But after 25 hours in total, that means you end up earning around 72,000 Pokeyen per hour, which is definitely above average, like decently above average of most grinding methods in the game, I would say. I think PokeMMO, from what I've seen, the devs try to balance the game around 60k Pokeyen per hour, because that's what payday ends up being around per hour. So I think that's like kind of the benchmark for all Pokeyen earning. I think it's really important to keep in mind and really important to understand and know. So 72k per hour is super solid. Definitely a time-consuming method. Definitely a hard-working method. Definitely a grinding method. Definitely fun for some for a long time, fun for some for an hour, and then you have to take a break. It's quite a solid method though. It's also a very good alt method because you can just get an account to the Safari Zone, put some Pokeyen on it, and you just go to town, and that's it. Like you only need Pokeyen to enter the Safari and make the listings, and that's it. And it's really good for an alt because all you need to do is get to Fuchsia, and then you're set to sit there forever. It's also quite good for anyone who's trying to rebuild, who's lost a lot of Pokeyen, maybe gambling on holiday event items or something. It's also just a solid method for those who are experienced and want to do it. It's just a good method is the point I'm getting to. I think I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10, maybe 8.8 or 9, leading towards that out of 10. It's just a really, really great method. Definitely not the best, but far above average. Really great, really good method. You definitely have to put in there's a learning curve to understanding the market, to looking up things, to researching, to remembering the market, remembering what carp are worth what, and learning how to sort and everything. There's definitely a learning curve, but it gets better and better and better as the more you do it, the more you learn. It's definitely a method that is fit for someone who really has that MMO grinder spirit, or that gaming grinding spirit. If you really want to grind, if you really want to put your willpower to the test, this is the perfect method for you. But anyways, I really hope you guys liked this video. It was really my first real crack at YouTube and trying this sort of thing. I stream pretty regularly, and I love doing that, but YouTube is definitely something that I never thought I'd see myself doing, never something that I'd see myself even trying for the most part. I'm much more of a streamer type of dude, but I just really hope you guys liked it. I hope it was entertaining, somewhat informative, somewhat. It did take me around 50 hours or so to make it, and I did put a lot of time and effort into it. So I really appreciate any feedback or any criticisms I'll take properly. Really appreciate all your time. Have a good day. And I'll see you next time where I think I'll be catching 1,000 Diglets. So see you guys later. Have a great day.